Hello and welcome to episode number 74 of the Hobbies and Happiness podcast, where we talk all about the hobby that makes us happy, tabletop gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Dan.
And I'm Jim. And today we're going to be talking about organized play in card games.
All right, welcome to today's episode, everybody. Before we get into the episode, we talk about our sponsor, Amazon Audible. If you head over to our affiliate link, www.audibletrial.com/hobbies and happiness, you can sign up for your free 30-day trial of Amazon's Audible service. You like audiobooks? Like reading? I know I've mentioned it before. My wife loves to read. I don't have the time to read. Books are fun. Books are great. I enjoy fiction. I enjoy a lot of fiction books myself. I enjoy a good story. I also enjoy nonfiction books, and more so books by inspirational authors. Somebody like Simon Sinek. I know we talked about him, I believe, on the last episode or the episode before that. One of the two. Simon Sinek is a great author, very inspiring guy. One of his books that he wrote that I absolutely love, it's called Find Your Why. If you head over to follow that affiliate link, sign up for your free trial of Amazon's Audible service, you can get that book for free. That's right. You can get that audiobook for free. If you follow our affiliate link, check out that book, Find Your Why by Simon Sinek. A fantastic book, super helpful from a leadership standpoint, but also like just a general standpoint of it's going to help you in your everyday life. Really, he helps you kind of nail down and answer your question of find your why. Like, why do you do the things that you do? And like when you answer that question, it just helps you so much have such great focus in your life. And then from a leadership standpoint, it really helps that trickle down to your employees, your team. And so many people can, like if you're leading an organization, it's going to be so helpful. So I definitely highly recommend you check out Simon Sinek's book, Find Your Why. Follow our affiliate link, www.audibletrial.com/hobbies and happiness. You can get a free credit, so you can redeem that credit for that audiobook, add it to your account. And what's even better is if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get 2 free credits. And then if you don't like the service, you can cancel before the end of the 30 days, and you get to keep those books that you got. You get to keep those books on your account. So again, head over to our affiliate link, audibletrial.com/hobbies and happiness to sign up for your free 30-day trial today. Okay, with that out of the way, so this topic has been kind of been pretty prevalent in our circles recently. Before we get into it, honestly, I want to again shout out Lorcana Cast. They recently did, a few weeks ago, they did an episode all about organized play, and then kind of applying it to Disney Lorcana, which, stay tuned towards the end of the episode. We're going to make some applications to that game.
We always do.
But, and I've mentioned this before, like it's kind of a great case study.
Yeah. I
say case study because it's not even out yet, right? But it's just, we have all these topics and it's like, man, this is something that we can really make these applications now. And then like in a year, kind of see where things shook out and like see if we got what we wanted or...
Lorcana, the good thing about it is, right, like they have all this stuff that they could be doing, right? In terms of all the things that we've talked about in the past of what makes card games like profitable or good and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And it's like they have all the resources that can be like, oh, yeah, this is what we need to get it done. And then it's like, but what are they going to do?
Yeah.
So are they going to listen? Lot of work.
Are they going to listen to us?
Probably not.
Yeah, right. But like
there's a lot of stuff for them.
But right, like it's like you have people like us, like on our show, like we give our 2 cents, we give our opinions, and then you have other people who give their opinions too. Yep. But then you have the designers who they're the ones making the decisions, right? Yep. They are in charge of making these decisions and terminations for the health and future of their game. So it's like we're sitting on pins and needles, like waiting to see like, all right, well, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And that's like, it's fun. it's fun being in a position to where you get to talk about this kind of stuff, and then I don't want to say we're directly involved, but like we have a front row seat.
Yes.
Like we have a front row seat, and then it's like we're just waiting to see what these people are going to do. And then, just then they'll make the decision, then we'll react to it, right?
Yep.
And then, go about our merry way. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think, to also kind of see what kind of community involvement they're going to have with like content creators, like we've said before, but just the community in general, and just kind of see what kind of involvement they're going to look for, because that's kind of a big thing. Like, especially when we talk about the tabletop space, card games, community involvement is kind of big, because like if you don't have community involvement, eventually it will become a dead game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. If you don't have people that play your game.
Yeah. Right. What do you have then? You have a game that no one plays, but at that point, is it a game? What makes a game a game?
I assume it's still a game. It's just not a played game.
Right. I was more looking at it from the same point of, it's just something that's sitting there. It's just, since it's not actively being used, like it's kind of like that phrase, if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one here to hear it, does it make a sound?
Yes.
Correct. Right.
Yes, it does.
Right. But I think it's that kind of thought exercise. It's like, yes, it's still a game, although it's not being played and no one's playing it. It is still that thing. It's still a game, right? Kind of a weird thing to talk about, but that's what we do, right? That's what we do here on the H&H podcast. All right, so we're talking all about organized play again. Shouting out again, Lorcana Cast. Go check out their episode. They did it in 2 parts. Great episode. You need to go check it out. Talk all about organized play and what they're looking for in Disney Lorcana. So, again, the way we're going to start it is what we do with normal episodes, is defining our terms. So, organized play. So, Jim, like, if I were to ask you, what is organized play? Like, what is organized play in your mind? And then we'll kind of we'll go from there.
Okay. Organized play, I see at it can be like any venue, right? It could be a smaller, or it could be, larger events. But it's a gathering of people coming to play a specific game, either casually or competitively.
So the way that I view organized play, and I believe this is the way that the term is viewed in the industry, is when you specifically are talking about organized play, that's specifically referring to the designers of the game and their involvement and or programs to have events, whether that be specific local events, national events, or whatever their programs are, to have these, I mean, for lack of a better word, events, right? Yeah. Tournaments. Tournaments is kind of, because they're basically all tournaments. Yeah, they're basically all tournaments. Because again, like, what's a tournament? Well, you're all playing a game together, and then there's going to be one winner of the entire thing, essentially, right? Yeah. So,
not just tournaments. I found out when they actually did one of the reboots for Vanguard, they had an organized thing set up to where they'd have members of the Bushiroad company go out to specific locals game stores, and they would actually be hosting like seminars of how to play the game, and they'd also be giving you stuff as well. So it's not just tournaments.
Yeah. So and that's very interesting too, because I think that seems like it would be very helpful for a game to continue to grow, because very often, right? If you go to your LGS, okay, there's a tournament being held for a game that you don't necessarily play. Yeah. So we've all been there, right? Where we're sitting around a table, we're watching these people play this game that we don't know what game it is because we've never played it.
That's how I learned Vanguard.
Right? Well, right. And so, there's plenty of people that come to my mind where I saw them play Vanguard or play something else. Like, what are you guys playing? Right. Yeah. And it's just them two playing. And if I wanted to learn how to play, I'd have to talk to them. But it'd be really nice if there was someone whose specific job it was to be there to just teach other people who are interested about the game.
Like a shop owner.
Well, right, but
Yeah,
like,
but specifically from the company. Yeah.
Correct. I always think that is the job of every shop owner.
Yeah.
Right. Is
Yeah.
that should be part of your job description, if you ask me. But yeah, I think one avenue of these organized play programs could and should be just that, is to have a rep.
Yeah.
You know, go into these local stores to specifically be there to answer questions and to teach the local community about the game.
Yep.
Right now, then the question then comes into logistics, profitability. Is it worth it? How much money are we losing?
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, that's marketing. Right. And marketing is that department where you got to answer all those questions of, is it viable? Is it profitable? And is it worth it for us as a company to put this money into this marketing campaign, for instance? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when we talk about organized play, I mean, we're specifically referring to these types of programs, okay? These programs from the manufacturers, designers of these games, where they partner not only with local shops, but also even national organizations. Think Channel Fireball, these larger people to host tournaments. And to get people out to play these events for their game. Okay, a big part of organized play is what are known as OP kits. Okay, essentially, what an OP kit is basically it's what do you get for participating in said event. Okay, so Jim, like, you've been in this space for quite a long time. Okay,
Yeah. Wow.
so what I would like you to share with, and I know, like, Jim, and I know he'll probably, and he's talked about this before, right? But the type of player that you are is you're not so much in it to be like competitive. You're just in it to have fun and be social.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
Is what I've learned. No matter how badly I think I'm competitive in it, I'm not actually competitive in it at all.
Well, it's funny too, because like when we were getting ready we've talked about the AF tournament,
Yeah.
okay, when we were playing Modern for Magic the Gathering, right? He helped you, like you were prepping, you were helping prep me and some other people, but you're just like, I don't even know if I'm gonna play, and then we end up we show up and he's like, I'm not gonna play,
I'm not even
and he
gonna
just
play.
walked around and just hung out with us the whole day.
Yeah, I did a little bit of judging.
Yeah.
I did like one ruling that people had, and it was for you, actually.
Yeah. And you looked at me, you're like, yeah, that's how we're like, oh, crud. I'm like, Jim, back me up here, dude. No.
I can't. Good luck.
And that question came up like with those specific decks, like a lot. So it's like, you should probably know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Which I found out. So anyway, with the amount of time you've been in the industry and around these games, like, what are some OP kits or prize that you've seen from a lot of these different card games? So like, I know we talked a little bit about Vanguard.
Yes.
So kind of, what have you seen from your experience with Vanguard?
So with Vanguard, when they were having that, come in and learn how to play day, they were giving out they had these starter decks that they would just be handing out to people. And they also gave out it was like a few promo cards in it that were specifically for certain, I guess you could say, clans of the game, right? So, and all of these different card games, most of it is like always promo cards.
Yeah.
Stuff you can get from the normal set, but it's probably a foil or it's got a different artwork to it.
Yeah.
Then there's also game mats as well.
Okay. So real quick with promo cards.
Yeah.
Okay. Like if you were to ask me, when I think of a promo card, I think is an alternate art of a card that's readily available.
Yeah.
In these sets.
Yeah.
However, come to find out, there have been certain games who have given out promo cards that are unique cards.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Neither
I don't
do
like
I.
that.
I don't like that either.
I don't like
so like
for board games, it makes a little more sense, but I still don't like it for board games as well.
Well, right, because I mean, I think typically when we think of board games, we don't think of board games in the same vein as card games, because typically with board games, you don't think of board games being played in tournament play for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, card games are the games that you more think of in a competitive sense.
That is the competitive game.
Yeah, right. Right. Now, that's not to say board games aren't played in competitive sense. Like they recently had the World Series of Board Gaming, which I don't even know how that went. I just knew that they were doing it and it was a thing.
Yeah. I thought it was cool when I found out Pandemic can be played competitively, and it's like it's a 2v2 setup.
Oh, a
as
team
well.
team game.
Yeah, it's a team setup, and I was like, oh, that is actually really cool.
That's cool. Yeah. So yeah, when I think promo card, I just think of a different art. I think of a different art style of a regular card. But I recently found out that there were games that have done unique promo cards before.
So for
I don't have any data. I just know that I heard it was a thing, and when I heard it, I'm like, I don't like that. Please don't do that. So Lorcana, don't if you don't do it. Don't do it. Ravensburger, no, please.
Well,
no,
I think
please.
they're already on a good start. Like they made those 7 cards, and those are going to be in the main set. It's just these aren't cards that you can just not get anywhere else.
And I think I think that's the way you do it. It's like you just do a unique art style or a unique foil treatment. Which again, like Flesh and Blood has done the same thing, like with their cold foils.
I don't even know what that looks like.
I don't even know what it looks like either.
I haven't seen it.
Neither have I. Again, that's another one of those things where I know what they do and I know it's a thing. Again, I'm just not in this space enough for that game to know exactly what they look like.
Right.
I've heard that they look really, really good. I just haven't seen one personally myself, unfortunately.
For Yu-Gi-Oh, they tend to have a lot of promos for just like showing up to events. But the winner of a lot of the tournaments, I can think of 2 cards off the top of my head. When they were first given out, it was only 1 copy or like 2 copies in the world, and they were given to the top 1 or top 2 players of the tournaments of like world championship level things, right? And so the first one was
like a different art treatment or like a whole new card.
It was a brand new card. And now I believe the first one they've definitely reprinted. This other one I don't know if they've reprinted and made. The first one was Crush Card Virus. And one of the big first tournaments in Yu-Gi-Oh! And the winner got that card. It was easily like 10 grand when it like first dropped. Yeah.
Wow.
Card was big in the show, but it was never an actual thing.
Yeah.
And later on there was I forget his name. It was a synchro monster. And I want to say it was around the 2nd generation or 3rd generation. Yeah, 3rd generation of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Blood Mephist. I think it was Blood Mephist. And yeah, the only way you could get him is winning that one big tournament. So yeah, it's a promo card.
Yeah. It is technically a promo card.
Yeah,
right?
but it's not your standard promo card.
It's a promotional card.
Yeah,
but it's a unique
very unique card.
Now the problem you run into, right, is if these companies adopt strategies like this, is if that card becomes a key cornerstone of a deck, of a specific deck archetype, then that can be a big problem, and you will get a lot of pushback from your community for it.
Yep,
that's a big problem you can run into. Yep. Now that's something that I've heard like has happened. I think that's happened in Yu-Gi-Oh! From my understanding.
If like of one of those cards that they made was huge for like one deck that would just be really strong.
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Well, at least not anything to that degree.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
Yeah, but that's a problem you definitely can run into.
Yes.
And so it's something you want to avoid.
Actually, so I was learning recently, GOAT format in Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of people argue between having Exarian Universe in the format and not having Exarian Universe in the format.
Okay.
A really, really powerful card.
Okay.
And it was one of the cards that actually changed up how Yu-Gi-Oh! Was played at that time. Okay. And so a lot of people argue it because it's just super powerful, right?
Yeah.
Except people say it's in the format because it was a part of a tournament, a few select tournaments while it was on pre-release that you were able to play the card, and it was still in the time frame of what people consider GOAT format.
Got it.
So it was the one weekend before that point, that period, to where people are like, no, this is
the
GOAT
cutoff.
format.
Yeah, right.
So for the people that were able to get it for those tournaments, not everyone was able to get it for the tournament. It was essentially a promo card.
Yeah.
So, and when they threw it into the decks, they were the ones doing so much better than everyone else in the format at that time.
Yeah. And guys, like the reason we say like it's a big problem is the scarcity of the card on the market.
Yeah.
The scarcity of the card in the secondary market. Like if you as a company are saying the only way you can get this card is if you win an event, well, what's going to happen when the people who don't win the event want that card for that one deck? Yep. Right. Like if the people who win these tournaments get that card, well, then they develop they build a whole new deck specifically around this card. And then that deck ends up just dominating in these tournaments. Okay. and then the meta shifts and the people find out this is the best deck. This is a tier 1 deck, but I need to get a play set of these cards,
that are nowhere to be found.
Correct. And then the price just skyrockets.
Yeah.
Right. It was already expensive because of the scarcity, right, on the market. But now that the demand has increased exponentially for the card, what have you done to the price? Well, you've increased the price exponentially.
Yep.
So that's just simple supply and demand.
Yep.
Now, before we continue, I did want to mention we kind of touched on this topic early on in the podcast. We episode 16 and 17. 16 we talked about the future of organized play, and we were specifically referencing Magic the Gathering because that was around the time frame where Wizards decided to kill the Pro Tour.
Got rid of it.
It has since come back.
Now it's back.
And then the next episode we talked about our tournaments important in tabletop.
Maybe they listened to that podcast and were like, it's probably a good idea to bring it back.
Yeah.
They don't listen to it.
Yeah. So I wanted to throw that caveat in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't do unique cards that you can only get in one way or another. Right. Well, that's a weird statement.
And only in one way and not another.
Correct. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
I know what you meant.
Like if the one way you can get this card is to win an event, that's like, I can understand the thought process if you're someone who's not like heavily involved in the space and you you don't know what the potential implications could be, because like you could make a card that's very unique, but just that card is just not very good, right? But then you run into the issue of, are people going to come out and play? Because I mean, let's be honest. The reason some people go to these tournaments is for the prizes.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And so when your prize pool is not getting people out the door to play your game, what are you doing? Like you need to think of something else, right? And so like that's the other part. That's the other part like of this entire conversation. Now my only real experience with organized play in this space is Magic. Okay. And for basically every event that I've ever played in, whether that be an FNM, whether that be an RCQ, PTQ, or any sort of local event, okay, was a promo card. Basically, you got a promo card upon entry.
You haven't been a part of an SCG, have you?
Not an SCG.
Ooh, those
I
are
haven't
fun.
done. I did participate in a Magic Fest, but that was like a Commander Fest.
Okay. Yeah.
That was like a Commander Fest specifically, and you got like a grab bag kind of. But the whole reason I went to that was just to have fun and play the game, right? Like the entry, those prizes were just gravy essentially, right? But the most recent event that I played in, I got a promo Lava Spike, and the if you got top 8, I think it was top 8 got a Nykthos, a shrine.
Nykthos the land.
Yeah, the shrine
gives you devotion mana.
Yeah, correct.
Oh,
correct.
Okay.
And so that card was going for like over $100, I want to say, on the secondary market.
Sounds about right.
Right. And so I'm like that was the reason I'm like, I will go to try and get this Nykthos.
Yeah.
So I'm already gonna get the Lava Spike, and because it was the first X number we're able to get the Lava Spike because he only had X amount of copies, right? Excuse me. But top 8 got the Nykthos. So I'm like, all right, I'm really gonna try and get this top 8 so I can get the Nykthos because I'll be stoked. I'll be ecstatic just to get that. Not only that, but like top 8ing would be really great too.
Yeah.
But that was the event where game 1 I played in the mirror match, and I won in 3, and I felt so good. I felt great after winning.
We won't talk about the rest of that tournament.
We will not. Well, to be honest though, it was a really good tournament for me. It was a really good tournament. I didn't do super great, but I felt like I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And like the overall experience was just really beneficial for me.
Yeah.
It was really beneficial. But I hate Omnath. That Omnath deck, oh my goodness.
I don't think you have to worry about it anymore.
Not anymore. It's just at that time, like it was like everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it is. It's really.
Yeah, I think they stopped it now.
Yeah.
What they get rid of? Was it Omnath that they got rid of?
No,
Yorion.
No, it was Yorion.
They got rid of
it was
Yorion. Yeah, that was a problem.
Was the problem. Yeah, it was Yorion.
Big problem.
Oh, I hated that card so much. So, but yeah, my biggest experience with organized play in this space has been through Magic: The Gathering, right? And they've done play mats too. A lot of play mats.
Yep. Game days that they'll have at local card games or local game stores that we'll say like, I don't know, a random set, Rivals of Ixalan. So like there was a set that came out a while ago and they gave this playmat, which actually looked a lot more different than all of the other ones that they ever made previously, where it'd have like one of the main characters on it, and then it would say champion on it. Or if it was Hour Devastation, it said Mastermind.
Oh,
beautiful.
Sick. Nice.
Beautiful playmat. And then I believe it was Torment of Hellfire artwork, and then Mastermind. It was gorgeous.
Nice.
But for Rivals of Ixalan, they had a map of kind of like the world or Ixalan itself, I guess, which is a world, right?
Yeah, right.
And the person who got second place, I'm sure, would have been extremely upset that they didn't get this playmat. It was a really cool playmat.
Did he get second?
Yeah, Noah got second.
No way! I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got second. He was so upset.
What deck was? What was he playing?
Noah was playing Burn.
Oh, surprise!
And so me.
Noah always plays Burn.
The funny thing was, I still remember that day, and I was on one side of the table. So let's say Noah was where you were, and then Jeremy was on the other side. I was pretty much here, and then Avi was on the other side of the table, and we're both watching Noah play this, and I was just like, oh my God, he should have done this. He's misplaying so badly. And like I see Avi's eyes and he looks up at me. I'm like, I know. And then like it happened a few times and I still see Avi looking at me and I'm like, over here. So we step to the side and we start talking.
Sidebar.
Yeah, I pull him aside and yeah, we were just talking about it. So yeah, Noah got second. He got his playmat stolen from him.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, because he can't play. I'm going to have to tell him to listen to this episode.
Listen to this episode. Yeah. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, that was a day.
Wow.
That was a game
now,
day.
was that at Grapple?
Yeah, it was at
Okay,
Grapple.
that was at Grapple. Okay. Yeah. So one of the other things that Grapple did, like for FNM specifically, okay, and one thing that I liked, okay, was you got a certain amount of packs for a number of wins, certain amount of wins.
Yeah.
And so packs were always. I am perfectly happy getting like X number of packs because it was like any it was essentially any set. You could get packs from any set. Now they did scale to like depending on the set.
Yeah.
Like you could like get 2 packs of a standard set and then like 1 pack of some other set.
Yeah. So
like an Eternal set or
how they
Master
used to
set.
have it was it used to just be like depending on how many players, it would be like top 2 or top 3 were the only ones that got packs. Right. And then he took a vote of being like, and it was also 4 rounds. He then took a vote just seeing what everyone wanted to do, cutting it down to 3 rounds. But then for every win, you would get a pack. So even if you came in last place, but you got 1 win, right, then you would still regardless be able to get a pack.
Yeah.
And then it then was if you went 2-1, you would get 2 packs, but if you went 3-0, you would get 5 packs.
Yeah.
So, and a few times there were multiple people that would end up going 3-0.
Yeah.
Depending on how big the event was.
One of the things that I liked, and obviously this differed from individual to individual what they did with their packs, right?
Yeah.
But there would be people who would just say they'd open the packs, right? And if they didn't want anything in there, they would just the cards would stay. Like there would be people who would donate the cards to the shop and like, all right, here you can
Draft chap.
Draft chap. Well, right, but like even if there were good cards, like you know. You just give it back to the shop and they could sell them,
Yeah,
right?
you could give it to the store, or you just give it to some little kid who got literally nothing.
Correct.
Just be like, here you go,
Correct.
man.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're happy regardless.
And again, and that was just a whole community thing, right?
Yeah.
Like the community just got, I don't want to necessarily say the community got together, but like I think there was just a kind of an understanding of like everyone was just doing like what's best for themselves, but also kind of just looking out for everyone else in the community and the shop, which was great. Like it's so great being a part of a community like that.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember the kid Dominic there.
Okay.
His mom would be the one who would bring me in like pastries.
Oh yeah.
Every now and again.
Yeah.
And there was one day where I cracked a box of, I think, Throne of Eldraine. Took like all the rares, you know, all the rares and above.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I really don't want the rest of this stuff. So I'm just like, here you go, kid. Here's a box of commons and uncommons.
Commons and uncommons, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can make somebody really happy when you do something like that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of what our local shop did. And like what each individual shop does, like obviously is just going to differ, right? But I think where it starts is like what does the designer do? Like what kind of support do they provide, right?
Yeah.
And that's where it starts. And honestly, like for a lot of small shops, that's what they depend on.
Yeah.
They 100% depend on that. So if there is not if the game doesn't have a good OP kit to entice the local community to come and play the game, they are SOL. Because they you know, I see it's tough because like there's kind of a dual responsibility there, right? Because any sort of organized play involves 2 things: the manufacturer / designer, right? The designer of the game, and like the big company, right?
Yeah.
But then also it 100% depends on individual local stores and local shops and local communities to put on the events, right? But if there is no support from the top, okay, then it is very possible and probable that if these local shops want to bring people in and put on large tournaments, they could potentially go out of, you know, go bankrupt, right? They're a little bit of hyperbole there, right? A little bit of hyperbole, but not really, right? Like if you think about it,
It could cost a lot.
it could cost them a lot of money.
Yeah.
It could cost them the game. And what I mean by that is they could start sinking a lot of money into these events, and if they don't see any return on it, they just look at the bottom line and say, well, I've put on so many said events and I've lost so much money, so I'm just going to stop supporting this game entirely.
Yep.
And a lot of that comes back to local owners being smart and how they run their events, okay? But, and like this is a big but, if they don't have support from the designers, if they don't have good OP kits for these games, then it's all on the local shop. Like it's all on their shoulders.
Yep.
And like if they have if they've got a love for a game and that designer has no organized play system. They don't manufacture organized play kits. So they're not getting the support. If that owner wants to grow the game grow their community around this game, then it's 100% up to that shop.
Yeah.
And like, I've really thought about this because like, there's a lot of games that I'm like, oh dude, I love this game. This game is so cool. This game's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But if I want to really grow it in my own community, I need to find other people who play the game. But if there's let's just even say there's no one who plays the game. Okay.
Yeah.
If I want to put on events, then I got to figure out a way to, what am I going to have as prizes? Like what am I going to do to entice people to come play this game?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm going to have to put on the event. So like it costs time and money. Right. And so if you're not recouping some of that, like from like a prize support system, then it's tougher to do.
Normally the argument is time or money, but in this case it is both.
Yeah, it's both
because
yeah.
Now you're the one who sets up all this stuff,
right?
And then you have to have good enough prizing for the stuff as well. So then it's a bit of both.
So talking about prize support, right?
Yeah.
In my mind, you can never go wrong with cards and playmats. I don't think you can ever go wrong with that.
Yeah, no. Mm-hmm.
Right. But it's when you stray from that is when you start to run into problems. Now, one thing that I did hear, I don't know if you knew this, but Flesh and Blood, there was a thing where they had water bottles, like quality, like water bottles, apparently.
Okay.
And like those are really popular within the community, apparently.
Wow. All right.
And that was, I think that was pretty soon once they started doing organized play for the game. That was just something I had heard. I'm like, that's interesting.
Yu-Gi-Oh was doing dice for a while, D6s.
Really?
And so there's actually these, I guess they call themselves dice hunters or die hunters.
Okay.
I don't know, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And they have like one for every single attribute in Yu-Gi-Oh. So the like elements of it, right? Light, darkness,
Gotcha.
earth, fire, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
So they have one of each of those, but then they started making more dice as well. So people are just trying to go out and get all these dice.
Mm-hmm.
And it was from these organized play kits that Yu-Gi-Oh was sending out to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually kind of surprised because normally you don't do anything with dice in Yu-Gi-Oh at all. It's like, roll to see who goes first. That's it.
Yeah, right. So like,
that's pretty much it.
So it's like, what's the reason that they're manufacturing these dice?
Exactly.
Because there's just no utility within the game itself. Well, do they have like they use stuff for counters.
They do counters, but it's very rare.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like for me, give me a playmat, give me some cards.
Yep.
Like even. Like
that's the
promos,
one thing
like
card game players need. Both
correct.
Of.
Yeah, exactly. And so like I mentioned, like I specifically came out to an event for that Nykthos to try and see if I can win that Nykthos.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's how you're gonna draw players. Like you really like prize support is huge. And and honestly, we've talked about this before, right? Within our own community, Grapple, right? Like, can you talk a little bit about like what Grapple did? Because there were people who specifically weren't you saying like did people leave to go somewhere else because you were saying something about like just the prize part was not there.
Yeah. So earlier when I was saying they made that shift from top 3 players would get prizing into this new one.
Correct.
If you did end up getting like first place, right? Say you went to 3-0.
Right.
And you got first place in the new setup, you would actually get less packs than you would in the previous format for it.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
So now with people that and it also went from a pretty competitive scene from before the change to it was now a lot more casual because it was just like, well, if I go 3-0, I'm still getting less packs than what I previously was.
Right.
And now I can just mess around and have a lot more fun. And even if I go 1 and 2, I'm still walking away with a pack. Regardless.
Yeah.
And it caused a lot of those older players that were more competitive to either stop playing the game or go elsewhere. So yeah, that was one of the huge differences, and it also brought down the rounds as well from 4 or 5 rounds down to it was just 3 rounds no matter what.
Now, my understanding too, because that was strictly what Grapple was doing just on a local level, because there were no organized play kits for FNM.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, that was just for them, and then their prizing were packs that he would pretty much take the loss on.
Did Wizards maybe you know this, maybe you don't. Does Wizards provide any sort of prize support for FNM's local Friday Night Magics, or has that just turned into like the acronym FNM, like Friday Night Magic, and then Wizards just is all kind of hands off, and it's just completely up to local shops to do what they want?
Yeah, so I believe that there were promo cards that were given out to them. I don't know if they stopped that at some point, but I only remember a couple of cards that were like that, and that was during my early stages of playing.
Yeah.
I think they did stop that at some point.
I think I had heard that as well. But again, this is well before my time as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think now it's just gotten to the point to where like Friday Night Magic is just like every local store like has their own Friday Night Magic, and it's just like that's just the thing that you say.
The last one I can think of was the Fatal Push.
Oh,
and that
really?
That was a long time ago, yeah, because Fatal Push came out in Kaladesh or
Kaladesh or Aether Revolved.
Yeah, regardless.
Yeah, that block.
And then I want to say they came out with the promo. It was either around that time or shortly after.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the last promo card that I remember.
Yeah.
Hello, puppy. You got a
Harley,
dog.
get down. Oh, my dog.
Hello,
on,
puppy.
Come on, honey. Lie down, sweetie. Lie down, sweetie. Yeah, people listening and watching are like, what are they doing over there?
It's a doggo.
Yeah. Okay, so all right. So this kind of leads us into what we're looking for in Lorcana. Okay. So, we talk about prize support, right?
Yeah.
What we've seen works, and what we've seen that kind of doesn't work. Also, there was some game. This is another anecdotal thing, but I don't remember what game this was. But they had an OP kit was like a drawstring bag and some T-shirts, and they didn't have the proper size for certain people, and all they had was like
most of the people. I feel like. I don't know.
Why am I going to go to an event for that?
I don't know a single person who wears a small or a medium. I have little cousins, little nieces, nephews, and I don't even think they wear a small.
I guess,
and there's 3.
I guess my kids would. It's funny because like when we had our event, like we had some extra shirts.
Yeah.
We got for them, like they were a little bit larger, but they are their bedtime shirts now. They like wearing them to bed.
That's funny.
I will tell you though, it's adorable seeing my kids just say hobbies and happiness when they got shirts. I'm like, that's just so cute. All right. Back to it. Yeah, back to it.
So yeah, the shirts were too small for most of the people.
Yeah. So like I talked about this before, okay? But Lorcana, what I would look for, I mean, as far as organized play goes, promo cards and play mats. Like I'd be perfectly well and good with that.
Dude, I can't wait to get an Elsa playmat.
Oh, yeah. You know what would be sick? Is the ice castle.
Yes.
That would be sick. So kind of like where you have like those landscape shots, right?
Yeah.
You have the ice castle, and then you see a very small Elsa walking up to it. Right?
Yeah.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
Well, I want to see some. Landscape artwork like that.
100%.
Some location cards, maybe. Who knows, man? But that would be a sick piece of artwork. That'd be a sick piece of artwork for a playmat.
Cool ones. So many cool ones.
Oh yeah, so many great ones. Yeah. So playmats, and you cannot go wrong with playmats and promo cards.
Now I also want to get a view of China from Mulan as well, like where they have it slab in the center and like all the extra rows of the buildings off to the sides, or the party, right, when she goes up to see the king, I think. Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And then you've got the dragon, like the paper dragon or whatever. Yeah, that's a scene.
Yeah.
That would be a perfect scene for a shot like that.
Cool ones they
I
could
know,
do. Or
right?
or even Or even if they just take the photo where it's around the house where the tree is, there's the small pond,
Mulan's house or whatever.
Yeah,
it's the family house.
Man, it would be so.
There's just those,
I can't wait.
Yeah, there's so much great. There's so much great artwork potential.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like that artwork doesn't even necessarily have to be like on a card or anything. It's just you put the artwork just on a playmat.
Yeah,
so,
easy.
So question, do you think again, Ravensburger is widely known for their puzzles.
Yes.
Widely known for the puzzles, okay? So I think if you ask me, I think it's a given that they're going to do that they'll do puzzles for the game a little bit. So. Just because it's kind of what they do as a company, right?
Yeah.
But my question would be would they manufacture playmats? Do you think they would do playmats? Do you think they'd get into something like that?
I mean, if they don't,
I mean, somebody will. Somebody will. There will be a company that fills that gap somehow.
They could even make a puzzle that matches the playmats and you build it on
right,
it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, use it as like an outline kind of. Yeah,
exactly.
But I mean, like Magic, right? Wizards of the Coast, Ultra Pro does all of their official accessories. So Ultra Pro does all of their official playmats and stuff. So we could, I'm sure we could see another company fill that gap, fill that role somehow.
Ultra Pro will do it.
Yeah, whether that be Ultra Pro or Gamegenic or one of these other game accessory companies, right? Who's that's their entire business model is tabletop game accessories. Yeah. Okay. So I'd be interested to see, and honestly, if you ask me, I think that's what would happen. Is there'd be another company that steps in to fill that role.
Also, do we know if it's standard size cards? I assume so for Lorcana.
I don't know. I believe so, but I don't know if we have confirmation on that or not.
I mean, someone who bought it probably.
Well, it's gonna say if we've we could very well look at the promos and anyone who has promo cards and see if they're standard. I believe they're standard size. Yeah. If anyone's listening, watching, comment, let us know.
We're gonna have
whether
six
or not.
sleeves for our Magic decks.
Yeah, that's again sleeves is going to be another one, which brings up a good point. Do you think sleeves would be a good prize for these OP kits?
Yeah,
you think so?
Yeah, I do. I mean, because I don't know a lot of people who don't sleeve up their cards.
Well, right,
and especially if it's collector pieces, then at that point. And the further time goes on, they just become harder and harder to find.
Okay, so here's my thing with sleeves.
Yeah.
The moment you open it and start using it, the utility goes down because they will deteriorate over time.
Yep.
Period. They're gonna deteriorate over time.
Double sleeve.
But even then, it's just from use, just from usage, right? So that's why I'm just like as a collector piece, sure. But when I buy sleeves, it's I want to use them and to be able to see the artwork on it, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I don't know where I would be at when it comes to sleeves as prize support.
Yeah.
For Lorcana or any of these card games.
Well, all right, maybe not. I don't know if I'd say
unless it's the only place you can get those sleeves.
Yes.
If that's the only place you can get those sleeves,
well, that's why I'd like it.
Okay. So so that's
every 6 months they change it up or something, and you could never get those sleeves again.
Yeah, that's actually not bad. If they made it to where every 6 months they did a new set round of sleeves, and the only way you get those sleeves, so that way you knew you were always going to be able to have sleeves that were in good condition that you could use for a deck.
Yeah,
that I like that.
And they don't even have to make it just pure prize. It could just be, show up, and it could have been a part of the grab bag or something.
OP kit, right? Yeah, basically the whole conversation of OP kits. Correct. Not necessarily prize as winning, but even just for showing up.
Yeah.
Because
which would be amazing.
But as card game players, we all need sleeves.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you make it to where this is a show up, you get this for entering. I think I actually think that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
I honestly I didn't think about it like that. Mm-hmm. Because my mind was going more towards secondary market and the ability to sell them, which
so was mine.
Well, right,
it's just mine were limited.
Right. Yeah. But I think if you make it to where it's a prize for showing up, I like that idea.
Yeah.
I really do like that. So again, like there's two sides to it, right? It's the prize, but then also who gets it and how you get it. Like that's another thing. Yeah. So like if we talk about sleeves for the winner and only the winner, I don't like that as much.
Yeah, no, I don't like that at all.
But I really do like everyone who comes out and signs up for the event gets a box of the sleeves.
Although
I like that.
Although I don't think I would be against it if, say, like they had an artwork for, you know, whatever the event was or the events, and the winner got one that had the exact same artwork but just said like champion on it or something,
or
like
it was
that.
signed or something like that.
Yeah, or it could have been signed or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So then
You
theirs
got it, but
would be different.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah. You know, kind of the same thing with the playmat of it says champion on it, and everyone else could also get the playmat.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. Now there's so many great ideas. Like I think when you make it about cards and the accessories, then you get communities excited.
100%.
You get communities excited. Yeah. But the moment you do like
now they get to customize their layout essentially.
Yeah. And like that's like as card game players, that's what we're all about. Yeah. Like customizing our own plays, our play style, our play mat, our play area.
Yeah. And I that's one thing I've noticed. I love having just rare play mats and rare card sleeves. Yeah. I went out of my way for Vanguard to find some sleeves that weren't being produced in the last like 5 years. Yeah. And it only came from one specific event that was from 4 years ago. And I had some dude mail me some from Japan.
Really?
Yeah. I could not find these anywhere. I was looking for weeks, and I finally got them.
So I have a playmat. You know this playmat. It is a playmat of Stitch and Toothless.
Dude, I'd steal that in a heartbeat.
Toothless is the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon. Toothless is dressed like Stitch, and Stitch is dressed like Toothless. Every time I bring that playmat out to an LGS, I get comments. People love it. They love the playmat. I just bought it on Amazon. I found it on Amazon, and I saw it, and I'm like, I have to have this playmat.
It's super cool.
And I love it.
Super cool.
So that's one where I would need to get another. I want to get another one, just to have another one.
Yeah.
Like I have it like sitting out on my desk over there. I think my light's on it over there. But I use that all the time, and I love it. So,
is that your favorite playmat?
Is that that I own?
Yeah.
Is that my favorite playmat that I own? I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Okay. I really do. I think it is. And now our dog is
puppy.
And now my dog is crying. Okay. Yeah, so there's again, I think so is this a statement you would agree with that making it about cards and the accessories are good price supports?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
The moment you get outside of that is when I don't want to necessarily say you start to have problems, but is when you could run into them.
Yeah, it's just like so much more, I guess you say, like so much more inclusive, and it's specifically what everyone in your game needs, right? Like, well, we're going to put quotes around needs because having the playmat makes it to where, you know, if you're playing on a dirty table, you tend to keep your cards a bit more clean.
Yeah, right.
Sleeves, same thing. And promo cards, if they ever made one that was just like a lower rarity, and you're like, I really want this foil, and they make the card a foil,
right?
Then, or a different artwork that you love so much more because now you're seeing one of your favorite characters in this completely different pose, and now it's, you know, it adds more character to your decks specifically.
Yeah, so alternate, and we've talked about alternate arts before. Like I will always love just alternate arts. Period.
Because we talked about secret layers.
Yeah, right. And I think in general, card game players really do like that kind of stuff as well. Yeah. So, all right. With that, we're gonna kick it over to you. For those of you specifically in the Lorcana community, I want to know, like, what are you looking for when it comes to organized play support? What are you going to be looking for in these OP kits? Sleeves, cards, playmats, or is there something else? I think the three big ones that we touched on are cards, playmats, and sleeves. Yeah. Those are like the three big ones, which are like the three biggest accessories, right? I mean, dice kind of are also another accessory as well.
Oh, yeah. Especially for Magic.
Yeah, right. So like what's something else that you would be looking for? Like what kind of prize support would you be looking for in Lorcana or any other card game?
Money.
Money's big. Money can buy you
Money's
those
nice.
accessories.
Yes, it can.
So yeah, let us know down below. Shoot us an email. Let us know what would you be looking for in an OP kit for Disney Lorcana. We'd love to know. And with that, it's the card of the week.
Yay!
It is the card of the week, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Finally,
My favorite card of the week.
your favorite card of the week.
It's not.
It's not.
But it's a good card.
I like this card.
Yeah.
I like this card for one reason. Well, I think I like this card just because this was a pet card in like my lands.
He only has one reason as to why he likes this card. No other.
Yeah. But this was one of my pet cards in my lands deck for Magic. So it is a Magic the Gathering card. It is a land. The land is Deserted Temple. It is a land where it has the ability, you can tap it to add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. Not that great, right? Not that great.
Card's bad.
Card's bad. But it has another ability. You can pay 1 and tap it to untap target land.
Ooh.
So it's just an untapper, right?
Yeah.
The ability to untap your land. So
And a combo enabler.
correct. Big combo enabler. Very, very big combo enabler. So like if you can untap, say, a land that, I don't know, like a Cabal Coffers, where you can tap it for a lot of black mana.
A lot of mana.
Or a Gaia's Cradle, or a flipped Azcanta.
Man, yes, please.
There's so many uses for Deserted Temple.
Yeah.
Right. It's just it initially, like, I thought it was like it was a very innocuous card, right? And I'm just like, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, this is just like, why would I do this? But then when I started playing a lot of lands matter synergies, and just that resource manipulation, I'm like, oh man, there's a lot, so much potential here, so much potential. And then when you just learn about like your triggered abilities, where like when a land enters the battlefield or something, you can untap a land off of like a certain triggered effect, right? And then in response to it, you tap itself, and then you tap this to untap it, but then you can untap this and then tap it again. There's so many different things. And one of the things that like helped me as a player, like learning the stack, right? And how to manipulate it. It really kind of started with these lands decks for me.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because like the question that you're trying to answer is, what line can I do that's going to provide me with the most amount of mana possible? Yeah. And a lot of times that involves manipulating the stack, manipulating your cards in one way or another, right?
If you're new to Magic, learn the stack. It's the most important thing you can do in the game.
It absolutely is. 100%. So yeah, Deserted Temple, seemingly innocuous card, but can be very powerful.
Oh yeah.
Can be very powerful in the right shell.
Yeah.
Like even just the ability just to untap something that generated 10 mana for you is huge. Like that will not be downplayed, right? But if you can turn that into, you tap it, pay 1, tap it to untap something. In response, you tap that other thing, and then you tap this other artifact, and then untaps this Deserted Temple. Yeah. And then you're able to tap your largest mana producing land over and over and over and over again. Yeah. It's just, it's great.
You could even untap a man land and either block with it, or activate it now for mana, or if it is worth it at that point. Probably not, because you're paying the 2 mana essentially. But if you do need colored mana, it could possibly be worth it, because that thing only does produce the colorless.
Correct. Yeah.
So
yeah. Or if you have a lot of blockers that are somehow lands, and then your opponent thinks everything's untapped, or excuse me, tapped, and then they swing, and then you're able to untap something to then be able to block with it. Yeah. Like you can catch your opponent by surprise in some things.
What's the is it Dryad Arbor?
Yeah, Dryad Arbor.
Dryad Arbor. Love that card. And if you are hiding it from your opponent, just chilling in the back row, and it's you're fully tapped except for 2 lands, and you're like, I got nothing on board, man. What are you gonna do to me? And then you're like, oh, let's untap my creature, go into block.
Yep.
Which they had to do a ruling on that. You can't be hiding that card.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
The only thing you can have in line with your lands are your lands. So when other people also put the artifact, the mana rocks in there, I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that, but like, we're not in tournaments, so I don't really care. I just don't want you to get used to that.
Right.
Because it's not how it's supposed to be.
Right. Keep all your different card types separate from your lands.
Yes.
Okay. Your lands are special. Treat them that way. Like this one. It's special.
Like that one.
It's very special. So
yeah, it's not basic.
It's not basic. Although it could be basic with this one new card. Did you?
That's not the card of the week.
No,
Dan.
it's not the card of the week. Okay, it's not the card of the week.
Yeah, I know about it, Dan. I know about the stupid card.
Oh my goodness! I have to find it real quick. I gotta find this thing. Where did I put this? It's somewhere, guys. Here it is. New release. Okay. The artwork on it is sick. Okay. It's called Root Path Purifier. 3 and a green for an elf druid, 3/4. Lands you control and land cards in your library are basic. You know why that's powerful?
How is that powerful?
Because you can find non-basics when you crack a
fetch.
Any fetch.
Any fetch.
And literally any fetch.
Cultivate.
You can cultivate to find any land. Any land. Not just basic lands. When the cards that say search your library for a basic land and put it on the battlefield tapped, that now includes every single land card. Everything.
So now you can go find 2 fetch lands to then crack those 2, and now you decked in 4 cards.
Yeah. It's when I saw that card, I'm like, what now? Excuse me.
You know why I really hate it?
Me?
Price for progress or price of progress. Deal 2 damage to your opponent for each non-basic land that they have. They're all basics. They're all basics. And not to mention Blood Moon.
Yeah,
Blood Moon is just like,
exactly.
I guess I got nothing.
I guess I got nothing now.
Oh my god. Oh, did you see that 7-drop from Brother?
From Brother.
It's whatever the news said.
Brothers War. Yeah, right.
It's a 7-drop, 7 attack, 5 toughness. And it kind of reminds me of Worm Coil Engine, but it's not. So it's like when it dies, it has ward, deal damage to player or target equal to its power. And it's a 7 attack for 7 mana. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, dude, this is great for Tron.
Phyrexian Fleshgorger.
Yeah, that's it.
A 7/5 artifact creature Phyrexian Worm with prototype.
Yes.
So it says prototype 1 and 2 black for 3/3. Prototype is you may cast this spell with different mana cost, color, and size. It keeps its abilities and types. Okay. But it also has Menace and Lifelink with Ward, pay life equal to Phyrexian Fleshgorger's power.
So good.
Oh, wow.
Dude, it's so good, man.
Wow.
I love this card.
With Menace and Lifelink?
It's like a little bit like the
Worm Coil Engine?
Worm Coil
Yeah, it's kind of like
a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't turn into the, like the 2 little worms that are 3/3s.
Correct.
And have either Death Touch or Lifelink, where this one does have Menace. So it does take 2 things to block it, but it still has the Lifelink.
Yeah.
And if you ever target it with anything to where the Worm Coil, its defense it sprouts into 2 little ones, where this one is just like, you're going to eat 7 damage. Is it any target or is it phase?
Huh?
The damage. The
it's
ward.
Ward, pay life equal to Phyrexian Fletchgorger's power.
Okay, so yeah, they have
So
to
it's
pay.
face. Yeah, you have to pay life. You got to pay life points for it.
Gotcha.
Yes,
All right.
correct.
So it's amazing because it's just like, all right, well, if you do try to kill it, you're still eating 7 damage.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So
love this card. It's going in Tron.
Yeah. So that we got sidetracked a little bit, but that was this week's card of the week.
What was the card?
Deserted Temple. Deserted
Yes,
Temple. Yes,
that's the one.
Yeah. So got a little talk about Magic in for the day. So all right. Well, Jim, where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at Jim Morgan HNH.
You guys can find me on Twitter at _DJ Campbell and on Instagram at Daniel.G.Campbell. Head over to our website, www.hobbiesandhappiness.com. Find links to all our social platforms there as well as our YouTube. If you haven't yet, head over to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button as well. Helps us out in the algorithm. All right. Well, again, before we get out of here, I want to kick it back to you guys. What are you looking forward to with Lorcana and organized play? We know it's going to be a thing. We know organized play is going to be a thing. We just don't know how much of a thing it's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay. And Lorcana is going to be one of those games to where we're not the target market. We're probably not the biggest target market for the game. Okay. But we're going to be really interested in it anyway.
Might be. We're going to see what that secondary market's like, Dan. We might be.
Yeah. Right. So, but again, let us know down below what you're looking forward to with organized play and Lorcana. And then we're going to keep this conversation going. I feel like this is a conversation that is definitely not going anywhere. Definitely not within the card game space, but also with Lorcana as well. It's just what are you looking for? And it's one of those questions that is always going to be talked about within each of these different communities around each of these games, right? Because that's how these communities grow, and that's how everyone gets better, right?
Yep.
So, all right. That's all we got for you today. Thanks, everybody, for being here. And we'll catch you in the next episode. See you, everybody.
Take care.